Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everyone today? Had lunch out. So, All-Star game, didn't watch an inning. I think American League won 5-3. Who cares? I did see the jerseys like in Yahoo. What a joke that was. They were by far the ugliest jerseys. And I agree with Bryce Harper. The thing that made the All-Star games good in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s is you knew, oh, there's Reggie Jackson. He's got the Oakland A jersey on or uniform, and Pete Rose and Mike Schmidt, all those guys had their uniforms on. So it was individual. So now what are they doing? They're trying to be socialist. What do you mean, Howard? It's baseball. Well, everybody's the same. Think about it. You can't tell one player from the other. You have no idea who it is. You have no idea what team they're on. And these stupid uniforms. Why would you want to take away the individualism? Because you're being socialist, which is like sort of what's going on with the NBA and, even college football. It's all one division now. So that's what I noticed out of the uniforms. As ugly as they were, you didn't know who was who. You didn't know the guy was on Oakland, San Diego, or San Francisco. That's a problem when you're doing an all-star game. I've never seen where you couldn't identify the players. That's the whole beauty of the all-star game. Right? Here's your lineup. Mays, Aaron, Clemente, Pete Rose, Johnny Bench. And then the other side is Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra and Koufax. You got Gibson, all these guys. Killebrew, Oliva. I mean, it's a joke. Really, it's a joke. I don't understand it. Anyway, my thoughts. Let's see. Let's go to gold. Now, we did get hit by the derivative, which I thought we would, and we're coming out of it nicely. So we start the day, we're only down 10. We start the day 2470 down to 2466. Okay. Then it shoots up to 2481. Then it gets hit by a derivative down to 2468, and then it jumps up to 2481. Now I'm noticing it's jumping just before 10 o'clock, and I can't figure out why, although I did. Then you got derivatives hitting it at 10 o'clock, the U.S., 2481. Gets bought back to 2471, another derivative to 2462. Starts going back, another derivative at 2463. And then the last one at 2457, but they don't have steam. So they only run a little bit. And then at 2452, that's the bottom. Then they start being bought, and now it's 2458. So you have two ways to look at it, and I'll be right back. I'm getting my coffee. So we have two ways of looking at this. On one way, if you just woke up today, and if you just woke up and you didn't see yesterday, you'd go, wow, 24.58, we're doing great. Because it was just 2,400, it was just 23.50. We picked up $100 in 3 days. Now we got up to 24.81, which it's not fast. It's when does the next derivative hit? He always calls me right when I'm doing this. So that doesn't, going from 24 to 24.81 went up $50, $60 yesterday. This is not profit taking. This is not consolidation. This is not a stock. This is the game of derivatives. So when they started buying, there was no selling. Now they put some sell in, and you notice at 10 o'clock when the U.S. comes in, that's what's stopping the thing is the U.S. derivatives. Eddie Murphy going, I'm doing a put down, I'm selling at 24.81, and I'm buying in the neighborhood of 24.62 or so. And then they fire another one, and it gets blocked. So the Chinese are wanting to push the price up. So anyway, so we get 24.52 is the low. It starts getting bought. So I think that's our low point. I think it hits 2,500 by Friday. It's today, Wednesday. And we should just keep doing this. There's no reason for it to not keep going up because this is not a profit taking. This is not a stock. There is no, okay, it jumped up, let's sell it. And the only reason you do that with the stock is it jumps so high, you take your profit and then you wait for it to come down. But as I showed you on Rolex yesterday and I showed you on the Mantle cards, you're not waiting for them to go down. There is no down. Joe Montana's rookie card, it's 125. It ain't going to 60. And you just want to own this. You don't care the price. I know it's going to the moon, so I want to buy more of it. All right, so 24.58 at this point. This market doesn't close, but I think it closes for the U.S. At 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, probably 5 o'clock. And then the Asian market opens, I think it's about 10 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 10 o'clock our time because it's 12-hour difference. So they're just getting up and they're going to pound it and watch it go up. So anyway, we did get to 24.81. We're 24 down to 24.52 and now support at 24.58. So that's a very good sign. I don't see it going into the 23s anymore. I think we're in the 24s on our way up to 25 to 3,000. So I don't think there's a lot of blocking left because the U.S. actually needs the gold to block it. They need the gold to do the derivative to keep the price down. Now, really, there's no difference in the price. It doesn't affect the dollar. Okay, so this went up $60 yesterday. Now it's 24.58. How did that affect the dollar? Oh, I'm selling my dollars for gold. Now, if they buy gold, it's just like buying a stock. Are they buying stock because the dollar's going out? If they are, they're idiots because stock's it's not gonna do much without a dollar. How's the company supposed to operate? So anyway, so silver 30.33. Again, let's look at silver on this chart. So look at this chart, pretty much up and then down at 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And let's see silver, and I bet it's exactly the same. Oh, yeah, up, down at 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and then goes. It's the same damn graph. That's how sick this is, right? 10 o'clock, it's at 30.97, and it's down to 30.12, and now back to 30.29. Excuse me. So, what do we take out of this? We're very happy. We held up at 24.58. On its way to 20,000. They're going to fight it with derivatives because they don't know what they're doing. The same people that say you can print as much as you want and it won't matter, though you got this huge debt, are saying, oh, wait a minute. If gold price goes up, the dollar goes out. The dollar's going out because of the inflation. It's not the gold price. And I love when they start talking about interest rate. Interest rates have nothing to do with this. It's very simple. The dollar is being printed to zero. And if you want to survive and you want something of value, you buy gold and silver. What does interest rates have to do with that? These people are so stupid that argue this point. The value of gold to interest rates to other currencies. No, sorry, doesn't matter. All right. So anyway, gold 24.58. We're comfortable there. We made another $100 times how many ounces of gold you have. You got 50 ounces of gold, you made $5,000 in the last 3 days. That's what you got to look at. Now, not that we're selling it. See, the difference is I could see profit taking in Bitcoin or in stocks. So if Bitcoin goes from 40 to 50,000, I could see selling it and watching it go back down to 40 and buying it again. I can see that happening. Not in gold, though. Especially now, there's too much demand. There's not the same demand for Bitcoin. It's a few idiots saying, buy and never sell, and it'll go up to 1 million. Sounds realistic. 1 million what? Oh, $1 million. Oh, the dollar's not worth anything. So you got 1 million nothings. I mean, that's the beauty of gold, and gold will always have the value. Gold is value in itself because you can't print it. It's been around since the Romans. Okay. So no baseball to look at, unfortunately. I looked at football. Not much news. Nothing really, pro football, nothing really to talk about there. Now, I got my site fixed, finally. It's good to go. So, I ran across a video. If I can get to it. And this guy basically is a Marxist, which is a communist. Lenin, Stalin, those guys.
So, this mansion at one time belonged to the grandson of Cornelius Vanderbilt, one of the rich at this point.
Okay. So this guy named Richard Wolff actually says he's a Marxist economist. I don't know what that means. That's a Keynesian. I love how they changed the wording around. Instead of saying I'm a Keynesian, I'm a Marxist economist. Well, Karl Marx is communist from Russia. The other guy calls himself MMT, which is modern monetary theory, which is Keynesian, is print the money and there's nothing could happen. So this is why you're confused if you go on YouTube. You have some people going, print the money, we're fine. Those are the Keynesians. And the capitalists go on and they'll go, oh, we're in big trouble. We're dead. This is going to be terrible. So people that understand it like me, and there's very few of them in the room, will tell you the truth. Will tell you it's all about the money. It's all about printing the money. If you print too much money, it goes to zero and there's nothing you can do. And then I try to bring examples, the Romans, and then I bring in the Hitler trying to do that to the British pound in World War II. I showed you that. And then in that video, they're saying, well, that's what the English did to the France and destroyed the French economy because it killed the currency. So it seems to happen when you print too much currency, it goes to zero. 1923, Germany, hyperinflation. What did they do? They were printing $1 billion a day in Deutschmarks, and they wallpapered their wallets with it. So it seems to me, if you print too much, it goes to zero, right? But somehow that doesn't apply to the U.S. It applies to Venezuela now, and Zimbabwe now, and Greece now, and Sri Lanka now. The guy from Sri Lanka ran. They got into his house, and the guy ran out of the country. So I'm really wondering how it's not going to work this time. Oh no, this time, no. You can keep printing and print because we're the reserve currency, which we're not. Then where the petrodollar is gone, well, it doesn't matter. So nothing matters, right? Pretty odd. Mattered to the Romans, it mattered to the British and the French, but it doesn't matter here. It doesn't count for us. Okay. So I'm going to show you this. Keep in mind, he's a communist. He's a Marxist. What is that? This is the class today. A Marxist or a communist or an MMT believes the government should run the market, not the individuals, which has been proven. The individuals and the gold standard is the best for the economy. It's never thrived more. Adam Smith, I taught you, he's the one, and he comes out with the economy. He comes out with capitalism, Austrian economics. Let Say's law. You determine what you want to buy. They don't sell you things you don't want. That's the free market. That's basically capitalism. Laissez-faire. Leave the government out. Leave me alone. Just let me do business with you, right? We don't need anybody else. You want to buy my football picks? You come on, you buy it. I give you the picks. We don't need anybody else interfering. Even here. All right, you're not paying anything, but I'm going to teach you this. We don't need anybody interfering. It's very simple. But they believe in the government should run things. And watching this guy's video, it's only, it's 15 minutes, but I threw up during half of it. So we'll humor him for a little bit. By the way, here's my comments. I thought I responded. All right. What I said was this guy's a Marxist to communism. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's an idiot. My normal comment. All right. Let's watch this guy. I'm going to stop it as each point comes up.
Now, China is a lender to the United States government. China and Japan
He looks
are
like a
number 1 and
communist.
2 lenders to the U.S. government. China has been demanding repayment in dollars. It has been reducing its holdings of U.S. debt by hundreds of billions of dollars to the whole world. Economic growth is faster in the East than it is in the West. The G7 and the BRICS had the same total GDP in the year 2020. Now the BRICS have about 3 or 4% more than the G7.
Hardly a thinker. If you look at his thing, he's a Marxist
Capitalism
economist.
has always had financial problems. The way the system works produces financial problems. Here in the United States, we have
Okay, first point. Capitalism always has financial problems. True or false? That ain't true. It's the communists and socialists who come in and ruin the capitalism. We make money and they want it, right? So they try to steal, let's feed the poor and we'll have welfare and, all these pensions and government employees. Because we make the money, because it's a capitalist system, and they steal it. That's what he's not even talking about that. Anyway, that's untrue, that first comment. All right.
A governmental system that works as follows. On the one hand, you have corporations and the rich. They are a minority, but they provide the money for political parties. A political party, Republican and Democrat, spend an enormous amount of money. They buy time on television. Everything is done by mass media, by social media, and so forth. So for a candidate or a party to win, they need to get a lot of money. And that money comes overwhelmingly from corporations and the rich. And they don't want to be taxed. So what corporations and the rich want from the government is lots of service. They want 800 military bases so that nobody will interfere with exports or imports.
What's he talking about? Corporations and the rich don't pay taxes. What the fuck is he talking about? Are you telling me GM doesn't pay tax? Microsoft, they all pay tax. They might have things offsetting their taxes. Believe me, I'll show you an Apple financial statement. They're paying tax. I don't know what he's talking about. And the rich don't pay tax? Really? As far as I know, everybody pays a tax return. The only way you don't pay taxes is if you don't have any income or you don't file a tax return. What the fuck's this guy talking about? 800 military bases. That's not up to the rich, and that should never happen. How is that capitalism? That's not capitalism. So he talks, but his arguments are invalid. What the fuck is he talking about? All right.
They want the government to help them, to educate workers so that they are productive. To all of that, prisons, we have an enormous prison population, all of that. Then there are the mass of people, the working class,
hey,
the
Greg,
employees. They too want services from the government. They want schools, they want hospitals, they want roads to be working, and so forth. And they don't want to pay taxes either.
Okay, so again, do you think that the reason government does that is because government is spending? They shouldn't even be in there. And nobody wants to pay taxes. Well, then do a sales tax. But everybody knows that nobody wants to pay tax because it's bullshit. But we all do. What's up, Greg and John? So so he's saying they build roads and schools. The school system sucks. The roads suck. They should be. That's not what a country is. So let me read you what the government should be doing. A strong country, lower taxes, lower government spend to budget, gold standard, free trade, and constitutional rule book for laws. That's it. That's what a strong country is. That's what this is supposed to be. Not that people don't want to pay taxes. Taxes are illegal anyway, but nobody wants to pay taxes. So what's his point? Oh, in communism, you don't pay taxes? Is that, again, this guy's a communist.
But they're not so powerful. They don't have any money to give the politicians, but they give them votes. And the politicians, once a year, need some votes. So we have the following capitalist system. Politicians, faced with the need to raise money from corporations and the rich, but without the power really to tax them. Because if you tax them, they won't give you the money. They'll give the money to somebody else who's running against you. You'll be out of there within the next year or two, and in will come somebody who plays the game. And likewise, you can't keep putting the taxes on the mass of people because they don't have enough. And they're going to rise up again. That's dangerous. Okay, so you have to provide services, but you can't tax. How do you handle that problem?
You do tax.
And the way that capitalists have handled that problem in the West is by borrowing. Okay,
that's not capitalism. Again, he says capitalism. Yeah, exactly, Greg and John. I'm showing you this because I want to show you the communist way and then explain our way, which I usually explain our way. But it's nice to sometimes see the other point of view so you can go, what the fuck is that? Okay, how is that capitalism? Since when is debt capitalism? I just read you capitalism. Lower taxes, low government spend to budget, gold standard, free trade, and constitutional rule book. That's it. That's capitalism. Capitalism is not debt. That's not capitalism. That is MMT because they just want to print and print and print and print. And how do you get the debt is people you're doing your treasury bills, and Japan and China and Norway now are buying them. But that's got nothing to do with, that's not capitalism. Capitalism, it's me go to work, I get money, and I go and spend. Where am I? It's like saying, well, I use my credit cards, capitalism. It's not. That's not part of capitalism. Capitalism is free markets. I'm free to choose what I want. I went and got a hamburger for lunch today. That's what capitalism is. There was several restaurants. I chose one. I ate. I got a hamburger after swim. Country is in a trillion in debt. 36 trillion, Greg and John. And really, it's like 100 trillion. That's part of it. And then there's another private part of the debt. So it's really 100 trillion, but we'll keep it at 36. And the debt is other countries buying our T-bills because we need T-bills. Now, part of that is right, but it's not capitalism where he says, well, we're printing instead of taxing. Well, we're not taxing because we are being taxed. I'm being taxed. When I do my tax returns, like 20 some percent. And if you're richer, it's like 30 or 40%. California, people are moving out because they're taxing them. I don't know what he's talking about. They're not taxing. And that's not capitalism. It's got nothing to do with taxing. It's not even in the system to tax. Does it say low taxes? Yeah, lower taxes. You want real low taxes. Because for certain government service, but not for school and not for roads, is not government service. It should be the car company. GM should be doing the roads because they're selling a car and the car needs a road. So they should be the ones, GM and Ford and Mercedes, doing the roads. All right, so let's look at this.
The government has to do all these things, but we dare not raise taxes on corporations and the rich or the mass of people. Then we will borrow the money because that way we can spend it on what people need, but without taxing them. It's just, and they will vote for us and they will give us money. And that's how it works. But
it's not how that has got nothing to do with capitalism. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm listening to. All right, I know I'm listening to a communist, and he says he's a Marxist. Who like, yes, I'm a Marxist. Only the communists at the hot tub, will identify as a communist. That's how the system will work. What system are you talking about? That's how capitalism works? I don't think so. Not in Austrian economics. I don't know what capitalism system you're working on. That's what's happening now. Does not mean it's capitalism. This is not capitalism. A long debt is not capitalism. Taxes should be very low and let the economy work. Keep the government out of it. The government should not be doing schools and roads. What the fuck's he talking about? All right.
Problem is, you accumulate an enormous national debt, adding up each year's deficits between what the government spends and what it raises in taxes. The important thing to understand about this, though, which many people
I can't wait,
is that this is very good for corporations and the rich for as long as it lasts.
How is it good for corporations and the rich? A big debt? Explain how that's good for them in capitalism yet. It's not good for them. That's not good for anybody. Because then how do they pay the debt? They're inflating. So they're going to print money to pay for the debt. And that's bad for everybody because that makes your little dollars worthless. And that is not Austrian economics. We don't use inflation. We use the gold standard. Right? So that a big debt is not good. I like how he says corporations and the rich. Okay, that's communist. Like breaking it rich and middle class and lower class, or rich and non-rich. First of all, we don't care about rich. If you are successful and you make golf clubs and everybody wants them and you make $1 million, what's wrong with that? And I'm sure you pay tax on everyone you sell. There's a sales tax and you owe it. And then you make profits and you pay your profits on your company. Don't act like nobody pays taxes. I mean, that's how you do it. Revenue minus expense is income. And then I pay so much tax on my income. Don't fucking tell me you don't pay tax on it. I've worked at so many companies and they all pay tax. So I don't really, it's like he doesn't know how it works, but he wants us that's how capitalism works because I said so. And I don't know because I'm a Marxist. I'm not an Austrian. I really don't know how it works, but I'm going to tell you how it works. Oh, this guy's so frustrating.
Why? Because when the government borrows, who does it borrow from? It borrows from corporations and the rich. Nobody else has money to lend to the government. So here what we have, the government lets corporations and the rich not pay taxes and then comes back to them and says, lend the government the money that you didn't.
Okay, if you think the rich and apparently every corporation wants the junk bonds that they're selling now, you're out of your fucking mind. Nobody, that's how they got money and the corporations are successful. They would not want the bonds because, wait a minute, you're 36 trillion in debt. The odds of me getting paid back are zero. Why the fuck would I want to do why would I want to be a creditor and not get paid back? That's not a good decision. And I know, first of all, they don't need bonds. They don't have bonds. As many financial statements as I've seen, they're not doing bonds. The way a company works is they get a line of credit from the bank just in case they need $1 million or $2 million because payables and receivables. So payables, what I owe. Receivables is people paying me, customers. And so if there's a lack and I need to pay bills, but receivables are slow, I get a line of credit from the bank. So give me $1 million. I got to pay these bills. And then when the receivables come in, you pay it down. But it should be, the idea is you have more receivables than payables. And then you make profit. And when you don't, you close because I make $10 million. My costs are $5 million. I make $5 million. So there could be a timing where you need a line of credit from the bank, or maybe you need a new machine or tool and you borrow it from the bank. You're not doing IOUs. You're not doing government bonds. What the fuck's he talking about? And the rich aren't in bonds. The rich are buying paintings and Rolexes and gold and mantle cards. Sorry, rich don't buy T-bills. This guy's like out of his fucking mind. I mean, where does he get, and how does he link it to capitalism? So he's going off the election saying, well, to be elected, you have to have a lot of money. So the reason that they give to Trump or Biden is for tax breaks. It's donations to, you can have so much donation and take it off your tax return because it's all corrupt. There's all lobbyists. So I'm a lobbyist. I'm going to give to fund because I want you to pass some law that benefits me and hurts my competition. That's what's going on here. I'm sorry, but that's not capitalist. Capitalist is what? Laissez-faire economics. Leave me alone. Leave the government out of it. Therefore, I don't want lobbyists. Leave the government out means you're leaving the fucking government out. It's me against you. Me against the other economists. Me against the other football handicappers or baseball handicappers. Me against them. I don't want a lobbyist on the other team telling me I can't do YouTubes because I'm blocking you because you're too good. That's no. Let it be free market. Me against the other guy, and keep everybody out, and let us determine who's better. And that's what capitalism is. I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about.
For corporations and the rich, is of course wonderful. Instead of paying taxes, say goodbye to your money. They get to give the government a loan, which the government will pay back plus interest on the loan.
Well, the government,
so corporation.
So let me say the government's $36 trillion in debt, and they're going to pay it back with interest. And what fairy tale are you living in? Who is this guy? Richard Wolff. If you ever see anything on Richard Wolff, and there's another one with this idiot here. I hate this Lana, one of the few Russians I don't like. What the fuck? And I went into hers and I said, why are you interviewing a communist, a Marxist? What are they talking about? So where are you getting that? Capitalism is about nobody pays taxes and they take debt from the government, and the government's supposed to do roads and schools. That is not capitalism at all. Capitalism's all free market. I need a school like me. All right, I'm going to teach Austrian economics. Whoever wants it, sign up. I'll teach it to you. That's free market. I don't need the government getting involved or trying to teach it. We see what happens when they teach economics. They teach Keynesian. They don't even teach the right one. That's why everybody's so confused. All right.
And the rich going ever deeper into debt is perfectly acceptable, which is why corporations and the rich are now permitting, here in the United States, we run deficits in the trillions of US dollars every year, like this year. And corporations and the rich, they worry only because at a certain point, when you borrow more and more, you run the risk that some of the lenders, the very corporations and the rich, will decide it is too risky. You are so in debt that there may be an uprising
from the
people which will say you cannot repay the debt. You have to take care of us first. Now, China is a lender to the United States government. China and Japan are the number 1 and 2 lenders to the U.S. government. China has been demanding repayment in dollars. It has been reducing its holdings of U.S. debt by hundreds of billions of dollars over the last few years. This is an important sign that in China, too, there's the beginning of the worry that the debts are going up so fast that you're getting closer to a crisis when the mass of people say, we will not continue to pay the taxes, you need to repay the debt, which...
What is he talking about? China's getting out of the dollar because the dollar is going down because of inflation. As I say 100 times a day, the dollar's worthless because they printed it to death. That's why China, Japan, and the rest of the world don't want any more U.S. treasuries, because they know they'll never get paid back. And if they do, it's going to be in inflated dollars. But they're not going to get paid back. So they're not worried about getting paid back. They don't want to be in dollars. They're getting out of dollars because they know the dollar's worthless. Oh, that escapes them. Inflation. That's not a communist thing. And inflation is not capitalism. Capitalism, there's no inflation in capitalism because we're on the gold standard, and we don't have inflation with the gold standard. Why does he keep saying the rich and the corporations? So none of the richer corporations pay taxes. Really? I got a rich brother-in-law. I'm sure he pays taxes. What the fuck is he talking about? And notice, this is how a communist talks. He lumps the rich. Who? Are you saying what? Bill Gates doesn't pay taxes? I guarantee you he does. You saying Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett don't pay taxes? I don't believe that's true. Now, the only way you can not pay taxes is if you have enough exemptions and deductions. So in other words, if they give, $1 billion in donation to Clinton or Trump or Bush or whoever, or George Washington, then you can deduct the donation, but only up to a certain amount. There's really no way you cannot pay taxes. Well, I guess if you had a business and it lost a lot of money, and so I owe them $5 billion in taxes, but my business lost $5 million in taxes, so I don't pay. But you have to prove the business, and it has to prove they lost money, and that's about it. But otherwise, it's what's my income, and then you get your standard deductions, and you got whatever it is, and you're paying taxes. There's no way you're not paying taxes. So if you notice, it's the rich and the corporations. So every corporation, none of them pay taxes. You want to bet me $1 million that I'll go back where I went yesterday for PE ratios and show taxes? So let's go into like Amazon and look at their tax liabilities, and I'm sure it's $1 billion, and we're wondering. See, he's very vague. This is how the communists do it. It's all a mob mentality, and so he sits there, and the rich don't pay taxes. Who? Well, the rich. What's rich? Those making $1 million and more, they don't pay taxes, and you've seen all their tax returns, and they're going to buy T-bills. So the rich who haven't paid taxes are going to buy T-bills, which is a bond, which is an IOU. They're going to buy this. Are you out of your mind? If you work so hard not to pay taxes because you have deductions, the last thing you're going to do is buy a government bond when the debt's $36 trillion, and you're not going to get paid. Oh, wait, he forgot to mention inflation, didn't he? How is this capitalism? At what point is this capitalism? Capitalism is about low taxes. It's about a balanced budget. It's about a gold standard. That's capital. That's Austrian economics, capitalism, free markets. We determine what we want to buy and sell. Do we want to pay taxes? Nobody wants to pay taxes, but that's beside the point. The whole U.S., nobody wants to pay taxes, but we do because we have to. We don't want to go to jail either. So we pay taxes, and but we're not buying bonds. You can't make me buy bonds. You're not making the rich buy bonds, whoever that is, and the corporations. You think they're wasting their money on bonds? So I'm the CFO. Oh, I'm the CFO GM. Well, let's go buy bonds because we got to buy government bonds so they don't raise taxes on us, which I'm sure they're trying to do. But raising taxes doesn't help you. The problem is the government spends more than they make. So the tax revenues come in at, let's say, 1 trillion and they spend 3 trillion. That's not capitalism. That's some idiot who can't balance a budget. You can't spend more than you make. So therefore, if you're spending 3 million, if you're bringing in let's say you're bringing in $1 billion, we'll keep it easy, in taxes, I can only spend $1 billion in expense. And if I spend more than that, then yes, I cause deficits, which causes debt. I think a lot of the debt is defense contractors and war. I don't know exactly what the debt goes for, but I know when they need money, they print treasuries, and Japan and China were buying it, but they realize the dollar's going out, they're getting out. What does that have to do with capitalism? What does anything he said has to do with capitalism? Everything's colorblind in capitalism. There is no rich and poor. And if you happen to have a good product and you make more money, great. You're not rich. You're not evil. You just, like I said, you made golf clubs and you sold a lot of them. That's capitalism. That you came up with the idea that you saw people needed golf clubs. You made them good. There's competition. You pay taxes on it, I'm sure, if you're a company. And if you made millions of dollars, you penalized? Now you're rich. And you're going to buy treasury bonds because you're rich and you're not going to pay taxes. Well, this guy's on drugs. I mean, what the fuck? He has not yet mentioned anything about capitalism, Austrian economics, or anything. He's talking about people with the government getting elected. Nothing to do with capitalism. So, all right, I can't wait. Listen to this.
Only God, because you weren't willing to tax corporations and the rich.
The rich.
That's why in the United States,
an
enormous amount of time and energy is spent by leading economists to explain deficits and national debts in every conceivable way other than what I've just told you, because they don't want the mass of people to realize that a debt is simply postponing the burden of taxation on the employees in order to benefit the employers who get out of paying a tax.
What the fuck's he talking about? If I owe my credit card, so I go to Europe. So I put it on my credit card. I owe it. What does that got to do with the tax? What does that got to do with my employer? What does that got to do with the rich and the corporation? So no corporation in America pays a tax. Nobody who apparently is rich pays a tax. And a debt you pay is so the employer pays later. See, that's the problem in Karl Marx communist, the communist way. It's the government is in control. You're not in control. There's no individualism. That's why he's saying the rich and the corporate. He's just lumping everything in. And then there's no way, if it's a debt I owe it. I still pay my tax. The company still pays their taxes. It's not a way of not paying taxes or deferring taxes. What is his big deal with taxes? And the rich and the corporations don't pay it. What is he talking about? I mean, this is blowing my mind how stupid this guy is.
And have a government loan instead. If the mass of people understood what I've just told you,
nobody
then
understands
they would not allow this kind of deficit spending, and they would demand that taxes be raised on corporations and the rich, because they have evaded their share of taxes for many years, and because they are the richest and therefore most able to pay.
This guy's so hung up on taxes. Okay. What the fuck is he talking about? They haven't paid their fair share. That's communism. Everybody pays their fair share. Everybody's equal. We're all a bunch of morons. Well, first of all, they do pay their share. They pay whatever they're supposed to pay. So I make $5 million. You know, I go work for Mercedes and they give me $5 million. I guarantee you taxes are coming out of that paycheck, and I guarantee I'm doing a tax return at the end of the year. Now I might I might have enough taxes taken out that I don't owe at April 15th, but I guarantee you during the year I'm paying taxes. There's no way you can stop it. The company has to tax you. You get a paycheck, you're paying taxes. There's no way around it. What the fuck is he talking? And he's so hung up on taxes and the rich and the corporations. So no corporation pays. I guarantee you, when I was at Mercedes, they were paying taxes. I mean, it's his argument is it's not. This is the way the communists work and the socialists. They talk in groups, right? They don't talk individually. So it's like me talking about football, and I say, well, football is this or that. But I don't do that. I go, oh, Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow. I get specific, individual, but he won't talk individual. He won't say, what do you mean, Rich? And they haven't paid their fair share. What the fuck are you talking? What is a fair share of taxes? Whatever the tax rate is, I'm sure they're paying it. So in his world, so I make $5 million and I pay zero in taxes. And he knows this. He's seen my tax return. The fuck's he talking about? And, the rich don't pay, and they should pay their fair share. That's communism. There is no such thing as fair share in capitalism. You pay what you owe, whatever the rule book says. There shouldn't be income tax. It should be sales tax. And then it would be, okay, if I buy a yacht for $8 million, I'm going to pay sales tax on it. Then you don't have this problem. But how is it a fair share of what? That's not capitalism. Capitalism, we want low taxes, and there's no loopholes. You earn income, you pay tax on it, and you pay whatever the rate is, and the rate could be very small, but you're paying 5% of 5 million or 5% of 50,000, right? You're paying your fair share. Again, this guy is unbelievable because what is he talking about? Why is it always taxes and debt? That's all he's talking about, and that's capitalism. Capitalism Armageddon. China dumps U.S. debt. Okay, that's why I watched it. Well, we know that. We know they're dumping because they don't want to be in dollars. They want to be in gold. Fearing a capitalism Armageddon. Why are you labeling it capitalist? Capitalism is what got you rich, not communism. All right.
To get out. But my guess is we're not going to solve this problem until it blows up. And if you ask me, when will it blow up? I can't answer that question because that's a question.
It's already blowing up.
When does capitalism run out of its mechanisms to stay in power? I think that capitalism is declining everywhere in the world.
Based on what?
Exceptions, perhaps, of Asia. The best way to understand these issues is to be historical in approach. And the history of capitalism should be understood as the history of movement, of change, of relocation of capitalist industry, because that has been the reality from the beginning. If we date the origin of modern capitalism in England in the 17th and 18th century,
1500s.
Then obviously we know the story of relocation, because England is now empty of most capitalist industry. It has left it.
Oh my God. Capitalism started in what, 15 something with Adam Smith in Scotland. It doesn't relocate. It just, wherever another country comes up with the car, so Japan came up with Toyota. That's capitalism. And then Germany has the BMW and Mercedes. That's guy didn't move. The U.S. has Ford and GM. What the fuck's he talking about? There's Italian, there's Ferrari, it's all over the place. It didn't move. There's nothing left in England. Really? There's no businesses in England. There's no pubs. They don't make anything. They don't produce anything. Really? This guy might be the dumbest guy I've ever heard in my life. So capitalism came in the 1700s, not Adam Smith, and it moves around, which is pure bullshit. It didn't go from the U.S. to China to India and now going to Saudi Arabia. It's still in where it is. It's just they're developing whatever it is. So they make cars everywhere. They want to make electric cars. Well, they do it in China and they do it in the U.S. and they're going to do it in Saudi. It didn't move. They come up and they're doing it. That's what they're doing. It moves. And the Netherlands have the chip. Taiwan makes that computer chip. Germany, they all make things. It doesn't move, but if it's new things get developed. So like the super chip that Taiwan does and the Netherlands, they just developed it and it happened to be there. Okay, so that didn't move. It wasn't anywhere before. It wasn't anywhere. Then Taiwan developed it, and then Amsterdam developed another one. So I'm not sure what moving means. Capitalism is opening up a pie store in Detroit, Chicago, or New Zealand. It's still capitalism. They're still doing it. Is he talking manufacturing? Well, there's manufacturing in every country in the world. I'm sorry, but I don't know. Capitalism is growing wheat. Well, that's in a lot of countries. I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. This is the problem with idiots. They generalize and they are full of crap and they say things and the average person would kind of believe them. Oh my God, it does move around. It doesn't move around. Different areas get different things. That's why early on, what did the Romans do? They captured all these different countries and they made it Rome. But let's say, what did Amsterdam do when they become the number one country? What was it, like 1500? Because they were in boats. So they'd go to one area that had furs and one area that had diamonds and one area that had spices, and they would trade it amongst each other. And they'd take their cut. That's why they became rich. And that's what the Spanish did. And the French, they all had, it was all the same. It was all shipping. The Dutch East India Company, you see it on Pirates of the Caribbean. That was real. They went around and picked up and traded goods from one good to the, so they'd go get spices from India or China, and then they'd sell them to France, and France give them whatever, gold or something of value. And then, so they were like the bookies. They got their 10%. How the fuck is that? Like, what are you talking about? It moves and then it's, all that, it's just insanity, right? The guy's just insane. Where he comes up with these concepts, I don't know. They're not real and they don't make any sense. This is not capitalism, but he wants to label it capitalism, and he's trying to knock capitalism's on its way out. You can't, first of all, it's the best thing. God knows communism had their shot, and let's take a look at Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina, Greece, Russia, USSR. They all went bankrupt because it doesn't work, because it's not free market. That's why capitalism works. It's free market economics. And this is the problem with the guy. He doesn't get it, but he talks. It's on its way out. Oh, so we're going to go to communism? But he doesn't say, but communism works. So he's trying to knock capitalism, but he doesn't give any really good examples. All right.
England and moved elsewhere. Initially, it moved from England to Western Europe. from Western Europe. It moved to the United States, to North America. It moved to Japan. And eventually it moved everywhere in the sense of colonialism and imperialism. That it were
The fuck's he
last
talking
4
about?
or 5 centuries have been basically the story of capitalism spreading, relocating. And I particularly want to focus on the center, the dynamic center of capitalism. Because, for example, even though capitalism relocated its center out of Britain, it still left capitalism in Britain, but it wasn't the dynamic growth center of capitalism. That has not been British for over a century at this point. We know where the center of capitalism went because we know that the British Empire declined in the 19th and 20th century, and
It declined because they inflated their money supply and they got rid of their gold. All right, I thought I left a comment. All right, I got to leave a comment for this moron. All right, here's my comment. You know, I show him. What the hell is this guy talking about? Everyone pays taxes. No one wants T-bills. Capitalism is a great system. Communist is terrible. Laugh out loud. What an idiot. The professor. All right. We know there's been a few, what do you call it, had number ones, right? Where they were the reserve currency. And it doesn't really matter if you're the reserve currency or not. We know why they all went out. We start with Rome. They went out not because of capitalism. They grew because of capitalism. They went out because of inflation. Then we get the Dutch, same thing. They went out because of inflation. Spanish, inflation. French, inflation. England, inflation. They all had gold. They all went to war. They all sold their gold. They printed the money and printed it and printed it. Every major country has inflated their money supply, which is not a capitalism thing. That's a communist thing. We're going to print. That's MMT. That's Keynesian economics. We're going to print money because we can just keep printing. We don't need to, it's fine. We'll just keep printing, but there'll be no effect. Yeah, and every country that's done that has gone to zero. The only way you can't do that is if you have gold. And do we hear him say gold? No. Do we hear him say inflation? No. Britain went out because of capitalism. Like, can you be specific? Hey, Luke. Yeah, I showed that. That was the 10 a.m. U.S. thing, and it slammed gold a little bit, but gold's bouncing back. Anyway, I'm just knocking this guy, Richard Wolff. He's a Marxist. So I've been playing him, and I'm really tired of listening to him, where he's saying how capitalism's dying, but all he says is the rich and the corporations don't pay taxes. What planet is he living on? And it's all about taxing, and it's we all got to buy treasury bills or buy them instead of, paying taxes. Every company I've ever worked for pays taxes. Every rich person that I know pays taxes. I don't know how you don't. All right, Luke. So let's go. I thought I'd hear from you yesterday when we got up to 24.84. We hit 24.81 today at just about 10 o'clock. And then down, you can see the 10 o'clock derivative to 24.52. And now we're at 20. Well, let's refresh. I hate when I go into the screen, but it doesn't refresh. There we go. So as of 6 o'clock, 24.58. Silver 30.33. But silver is not contained like gold. Gold, you have to have the physical. Silver's still playing the bullshit game. So that's why silver's, whatever. But gold, they can't do it. They have to have the physical, and they don't have much. So there we go. So 24.58. So last week we're at 23 something. So on the other hand, if you just woke up today and you saw 24.58, you'd be really excited. However, it went up to 24.84. After yesterday, I thought we'd see 2,500 today. I was hoping the 10 o'clock derivative didn't happen in gold, because again, they have to have the physical gold, which they're running out of if they have it all. But that's what it is. I was working in Philly yesterday. Okay. Anyway, but that's the point. So we went up $50 yesterday in gold, and there you go. So it's happening, Luke. We're on our way to 2,500 by the end of the week and 3,000. And, they're still trying to fight the derivatives, but, they made a few attempts and they could only get it down to 24.52. Like I said, if you did a derivative at 2,400 and you are selling it at 2,400, you want to buy it at 23.50, you're fucked. It is not going under 24. This is it. This should go up, as we should be at 2,500 before 2,400 again. There'll be pushes with the U.S. Whoever's doing the derivative wants to. They did the sell. They want to buy it, but they're out of their fucking minds if they're still playing that game. Anyway, so I did a good thing on. If you look at mine yesterday, I did a couple of them. I did one on real assets. So it was Rolex against Mantle cards against gold. And the bottom line is all three are extremely limited and rare. All three have a huge demand, and all three will have a high value. So the Rolex has a high value, as we know, and the Mantle cards have a high value. And then that leaves gold. And then when you look at it, there's more demand for gold than Rolex or Mantle. The supply is bigger, obviously, for gold, but the demand's bigger for gold, right? So there's how many Rolex people are there? How many Mantle people are there? But everybody needs gold because of that. However, you're getting these people who are negative gold. Gold doesn't do this or that. And that's what we're fighting. I think I played that video yesterday or the day before where, the guy's poo-pooing gold. He poo-poos gold and he says, oh, no, it's the worst mistake I ever made was buying gold. And obviously he doesn't get it. He's looking at it as an investment, and he bought a bunch of silver and he's trying to say the silver were different prices. And it's like, no, an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver is an ounce of silver. So what are you talking about? The dollar versus the bullion has a few dollars. I went and bought 11 ounces of silver yesterday. It was $33 for the bullion, but it was only $35 for the eagle. Had I known that, I probably would have bought the eagles for only a $2 difference. But I'd already bought it, and it's fine. And that's probably, I don't think I'll buy too much more silver. But after looking at Saudi Arabia, if you saw that video, Saudi Arabia is coming out with the electric car and the solar panels. What do they need? They need silver for both. India is doing the same thing. China is doing the same thing. It's all these ESG people who are trying to get good scores, who want to go solar panel and electric cars, and they're just wasting their money. And but you need silver to build them. You can't substitute silver. You can't substitute anything else for silver for the electric car battery and the solar panels. You have to have it. There's not that much silver out there, because you and me buy it for money, and I'm sure a lot of people buy it for money. There's only 500, 600,000 tons. As 250,000 tons of gold, 600,000 tons of silver. That's not a lot. Now, people aren't buying the silver yet, like they're buying, like all the central banks are buying gold, but they're not really buying silver as the hedge when the dollar collapses. And that's one thing. He's a Marxist. Who sits there and advertises, I'm a Marxist economist, and he doesn't mention gold or inflation, God forbid. He'd probably lose his membership to the Marxist club, and all he says is tax, the rich and the corporations. What a fucking loser. Anyway, so that's what I really imparted a lot yesterday, was what a real asset is, and the fact that the dollar is going out, that's fine to own. So I'm telling you, Rolexes. We saw $1 million Rolex yesterday. I'll show you. So we're at 24.58 and 30.33. Let's go to my eBay. Rolex watches for sale. 550,000. 527,000. This is a used one. This is a pre-owned. This is a brand new one. $500,000. Here's the one for $1 million. Brand new $1 million. Now what's happening is, and I don't know what this is, 3 million, but this is it's for King Ghazi of Iraq. So you're buying royalty there. So what they're saying is, for a Rolex, it takes a year to make. So you can't buy it online. So you got to go to a jeweler who's a Rolex jeweler, and you go to him and say, I want the rainbow watch or whatever. Now, 60,000. Problem is, it's going to take a year to build it, unless they happen to have it in inventory, which they probably don't. So you're waiting a year to get the watch, but I can get it used. Same watch. It's Rolex. You're not worried about it. And it's going to be 80,000. So 60,000 for a new one, but 80,000 for the used one, because you can get the used one right away. And they're drawing a bigger value than the new one because of the wait time. So you have a bigger value, and that's the point of it. So Rolexes are a bigger investment than anything else. They blow away stocks. So you're sitting there, you pay 50 grand for it, and in 5 years it's worth 100 grand, because you can't get them, because they're so limited that you can't get them. And if they put diamonds in it, they're even worth more. So that's what you have with it, is actually, getting it used makes more sense because it's quicker. So you'll pay more for it because you have to get the Rolex. So it's for people like that. But it's a great investment, actually. I'll prefer gold, because gold's at 24.50 and the Rolex is already at 50,000. So I can make a lot more money on gold being so cheap. Sayori. Can I buy them for $1? Any of them? A Rolex? What, are you kidding me? IDC, which one? Please, please. I need to impress my boyfriend, please. Money, speaking facts. You didn't see which one. Well, here's the one for millions with this one right here. Sky Dweller, white gold with factory diamonds, $1 million. So if you got $1 million, you can buy it. You need to impress your boyfriend. Why? If you wear a Rolex, he'll be impressed. Get another boyfriend. Be stoic. No. Use competition. Don't. If the boyfriend's only impressed because you have a Rolex, you got the wrong guy. You need money. Well, go buy gold and silver, and you'll have money. Buy silver, and you'll be rich in a year. So, sorry, but the market is not $1 for a Rolex. It's 60. It's at least $20,000 for a Rolex. All right, so is she friends with Greg and John? This girl. So that's what's happening. So to sum up, communism and Keynesian and Marxism and MMT are all the government runs everything. They don't want the individual. They don't want free markets. Government wants to control the market. And we've already seen time and time again, it doesn't work. It can't work. There's too many products, too many services, and they don't know what I want. Well, we're just going to make red shirts. Well, I want a green one. And I'm wearing a green one. So I'm going to go buy a green one. And the government's, oh, no, we're only making red. You can't do that. You've got to leave it up to me what I want to buy. And then the store will have different colors and I'll buy it. And based on that, they'll make certain colors and certain styles. It's funny, when I went up north July 4th, I have that real comfortable polo shirt. And last time I went, they didn't have it. And I think they stopped carrying it. And all of a sudden, I saw them. When I went up there last week, all of a sudden they came back because I started screaming and kicking and scratching, going, this is the one I want. I can't believe you don't carry it anymore. I don't want your others. So maybe they do listen to you. So keep that in mind. The biggest difference is we want gold standard and low taxes and a balanced budget. That's capitalism, right? What is it? Low taxes, low government spending the budget. So we don't need the government spending a lot. Free trade, constitution, and gold standard. That's the 5 things that capitalism is. Why are you going into debt? Why do you have a $36 trillion debt? What are you spending the money on? Well, we didn't get enough taxes in, and we need military spending. Well, let the military spend it. Why are you giving the money to the defense contractors? So you gave money to Ukraine, $600 billion, and they gave you the money back to the defense contractors. So they actually bought the weapons. So they're laundering the money to Northrop and these other Boeing and defense contractors so they can build weapons. Why? Why are we spending money that way? Why don't they spend their own money on it? So the government shouldn't be spending their money on a lot of shit. They shouldn't be building roads and they shouldn't be in schools. That should all be free market. Private college is private. Why isn't, I'm private. Why are they needing that? So really that's the difference. Capitalism is the only thing that works. It's worked since the Romans. It only doesn't work when you take the gold out of the money and you inflate the money, you fuck the system up. That's the problem, is the inflation of printing the money and making it worthless. And then you can't really have a good system. But capitalism always works. It's always worked because it's individual free markets. And that always works. So the guy's saying, oh, it doesn't work. It's going down. No. How is it going down? Well, that's the inflation. We're not doing the inflation. The government's printing the money because they're a monopoly. That is not Austrian economics. That is not capitalism. So basically, in our world, it's gold standard. So the idiots can't print the money. We don't want anybody to have a monopoly. More or less, the government has the monopoly on printing money. Yeah, that'll really work well. Yeah, we want to all go broke soon because of the inflation. So that's the point. So in communism, they have inflation. They don't believe in gold. That's why you see this thing here in the U.S. and Canada where they don't have any gold. The U.S. on their books, Luke, they have the 8,000 tons, but they have it as rented. So you think they have it, but rented means it's sold, it's gone to the Chinese. They've made jewelry out of it. They don't have it. So it might be on the books as rented, but rented does means it's gone. Somebody else has it and they're not paying it back. And that's why you might think, or you might have heard that, oh, we have the gold on our books, but it's not real. Um, anyway, yes, I speak facts. But that's what you have. So capitalism is the only system that's ever worked. Communism and socialism, which is really the same, it's government controlling the markets and it doesn't work. The individual has to be in charge, but as you heard this idiot, the rich and the corporations don't pay tax. Well, what are you talking about? What rich? And what, you want to go call LeBron James and ask if he pays taxes, or Tom Brady? I bet you they do. I bet you Warren Buffett pays taxes. So I don't know what you're talking about. They pay everybody pays taxes. Any company pays. LeBron James has a tennis shoe, or Michael Jordan with the Air Jordans. I guarantee you the company pays taxes, and I guarantee you his personal, he pays taxes. Nobody doesn't pay taxes. What are you talking about? But he can't say because he doesn't, he just lumps it in. And that's what the socialists and communists do. Your Bernie Sanders, who's a disgusting pig. That's what they do, is um, they talk generally, the rich, the corporations. Well, name one. Name me a corporation and show me their tax return. So we're going to do that right now. All right, let's see. This is Coca-Cola, KO, and they pay almost $2 billion in taxes, tax provision. Let's see, Pepsi. Why aren't they showing the tax? They're not showing the tax. The guy can say, look, they don't pay taxes, and you can't, like, you're trying to find it. I'm so sick of these derivatives being able to take silver down in one day, trading something that doesn't exist. Well, that's been the problem since 1975. Yeah, it does make it frustrating to buy it, but what we're looking at is where the derivatives are blown away. And so with all these companies, keep in mind, it's not an inventory of gold and silver. So it's not like, so when Saudi Arabia and India want gold and silver, they're not going to COMEX for it, right? And they will charge more. It's blowing up. Gold's blowing up. You can see it. And silver will be right behind. But see, the whole point of COMEX was to keep the price down. That was the intent, and that's why it's all paper. There really isn't a physical market, and that's what we need, is a physical exchange, just like eBay, but eBay is not a physical for gold and silver. It's going off the paper gold and silver price. So when you see silver at 31, that's what eBay's using instead of a free market on eBay like the Montana card. Yes, I'm sick of it too. I think it's ridiculous how it's totally illegal, and how they let it go on is because it's all corrupt. But eventually the market wins. All these people needing silver for the car batteries, the electric car batteries, and the solar panels, as well as us financially. And when gold gets really high, everybody's going to jump on silver. So again, yes, I agree with you. It sucks. It's ridiculous, but we understand the game, that you can only hold so many fingers in the dike before the dike bursts. But I agree with you. Let's see. So they give a tax rate of unusual items, but what's the total tax? I don't know why they're not putting the tax on it. But I guarantee you they're paying tax. I just got to find the right tab. I don't know. I'll find it, but they are paying tax. I believe you, they do. Gold 24.59, silver 30.34. So, the communist socialist talking groups, the rich, the poor, the black, the low, the Asians, the Latins, whatever it is, that's how they talk, because then they don't have to come up with specifics. I always try to give you specifics because that's the way to do it. But let's see, was there any other video I wanted to share with you? Anyway, I just wanted to, here's some guy who's saying he's a Marxist. So if you ever see this Richard Wolff run away, don't listen to him, because he's a fucking Marxist. He's a fucking communist. Who says that? And then this girl has him on twice. Like, the fuck if I'm gonna watch your shit. China dumping dollar debt. Well, we know that. See, we get this from Mark McGuire. We don't need to say it. We know they're dumping it. Why? Because it's worthless. China understands the dollar is worthless. They don't want to hold it, so they're dumping it and buying gold with it. And that's the point of it, right? So in case we can't see it, just look outside and you see Japan dumped it, China dumped it. I'm hoping Norway dumps it, and I'm hoping Saudi doesn't buy it because they're going to fuck themselves if they do. Lucas, goes hand in hand with the money printing, increasing the money supply. Exactly. And because they get it, right? It's all the government and the bankers who they print the money, and they just give them the money. That's the problem with it. And all it does is devalue the money. So most people get fucked because you're holding $100,000, and most people don't realize it gets printed to zero. Most people think I got $100,000, I'm going to retire. And then, wait a minute, I go to the grocery store and Fritos are $5 for a 9-ounce bag. Wait a minute. And you can see it's not selling because you'll see, yesterday I saw Raisin Bran 2 for $5, the 12-ounce or whatever. Now, I don't eat cereal, so I didn't buy it, but I was just curious of the price. But you can see all these sales because nobody is going to pay for it. It's too expensive. They're all saying, fuck you, General Mills and Nabisco and Kraft. We're not paying it. Coke and Pepsi, it's a dollar, 2 liters, $2.95, but you can't sell any. So it's buy 3, get 1 free. So then it becomes $2. So you're paying for 2 is $6, and then you get 1 free, which makes it $2 a bottle. And people are okay with that. But what are you going to do with 3 bottles of Coke? You'll be dead in the morning. Luke, problem is it should be the same for gold and silver, but it isn't. I assume the same as the Rolex and the Mantle cards, right? Because they're not being nobody's taking a derivative to this and saying, this Mahomes card is worth $2. And you're going, I can't believe it's a 50 count Mahomes, it's only worth $2. And that's what I'm trying to say to you. If you look at the Montana at 125 or the Rolex I just showed you at $1 million, if you look at it, how can gold only be worth 2,000 when a Rolex is worth $1 million and the Tom Brady rookie card is worth $8 million? Now, again, there's only 10 Tom Brady, and there's a lot more than 10 people in demand for the Tom Brady. And that's really the bottom line of it. There's much more demand for gold than Tom Brady, Joe Montana, and Rolexes all put together. Because as the countries all keep printing their dollars to zero, and it's not a U.S. thing, it's going to be our friends in Europe. It's going to be Switzerland. It's going to be Britain. It's already hit Zimbabwe and Argentina and Venezuela. And believe me, China's not far off, and it's hit Japan. I showed you the $10,000 Japan note. Well, that's inflation. What are you going to buy with the $10,000 note? Do you buy dinner with it? You can buy a hamburger with the $10,000 Japan note. That's why BRICS is coming out with a gold-backed currency, because they understand it, that the only way to survive this mess is with gold and a gold-backed currency. That's why when I do sell my gold, I want to be in Russia so I can sell it and get the gold-backed BRICS currency for it. So if I'm selling my gold for $20,000, the hell if I want this shit. What am I going to do with 20,000 of this shit when I'm trying to get off the Titanic into the gold boat? Why would I get off the gold boat back into this? So that's why I buy 1/10 of an ounce and 1/4 ounce and 1/2 ounce. I might need to only sell a 1/4 ounce instead of the whole ounce, and it might not be taxed. Again, the 1099 is so confusing. I don't know if it's, originally it was non-US, wasn't going to be taxed, and then it was only the ounce was going to be taxed, not the 1/4 ounces, 1/2 ounces. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But again, I'm not looking to sell at these cheap prices. So I think it's a lot easier to swallow when we saw it at 24.81 at about 9:30, goes down to 24.50. Now it's at 24.60. It's easier to swallow when we know it's bullshit. And you can tell people don't know what they're doing when they say it's profit taking or it's consolidating. It's derivatives. They're doing it. They're shorting the derivative. They're doing a put option, a put down, call up. So they're doing a put option at 24.84. A lot of them, and it moved it down to 24.50. And then it ended, and they started buying it, and then they did a call option at 24.50, and now it's 24.60. But we know what happened. Nobody sold any ounces, and nobody did any consolidations. It's the options. So when it got so high, they probably knew, okay, if we do a big derivative at 24.84, we can get it down. We can make some money on it. Because it's went up so high. That's why you always see when it goes up so high. Then they're going, now we can do the put derivative, the put option, because it ran so much. That's the problem. But as we get away from that, you'll just see it flying because nobody's selling. Yeah, the few people in my store that I go to sell, there's a few ounces here and there, but they're selling because they have to. Because they need the money. So it's not, I don't think they're profit taking. One thing I was confused at that I don't really is I think I was lied to by the second owner. He had a 1/10 of an ounce Maple Leaf and a 1/10 of an ounce Eagle, and they've never been the same price. So I said, how much are they? He says $280. Well, how much is the Eagle? $280. Okay, I've come in here for 3 years. They've never been the same price. The Maple Leafs are always cheaper than the Eagles. And I have a feeling he was lying to me or he just didn't understand. But I wanted to see the sheet because that was bullshit. There's no way they're the same price. Anyway, yes, I agree with you. It's totally, but if you look at yesterday's video, that's what economics is. Very low supply, very high demand equals very high price. And that's fundamental. And I pointed that out with Rolex and Montana and Brady. And so that's the formula. And what do we have in gold? We have very low supply and very high demand, which means very high price. That's how I come up with 50,000. Now, yes, we have the derivatives, but they're running out and they can't keep doing them. They're running out of gold. And who gives a fuck if it's a high gold price or not? Like I said, here's a Rolex for $1 million. Is that going to affect my dollar? Am I going to get out of dollars and buy Rolexes? It's the stupidest thing. I don't care what the gold price is. It has no effect on the dollars. And if gold's going up, it's because it's a good asset. But in this case, it's going up because the dollar is going out also. But it is a good asset. If you got rid of the derivatives, they wouldn't talk like that. But these are idiots that don't understand the difference between paper gold and physical. So in our world, Luke, in our physical world, we know they're very low supply, very high demand. Shit, and silver, not only do you have the money as we're buying it, but all the solar panels and electric car batteries. So you have huge demand, and we know there's very little supply. So with all that being equal, these prices have to go much higher. And Mark McGuire said Friday, he says, once we're going to get 35, we're going to get 50. And I told you we'd get to 30, and we did. And then, some derivatives, but there's still a game going on with silver that is not going on with gold. So be patient there, but it's coming because of all the demand for the solar panels. And I'm almost thinking that the whole solar panel, electric car thing is designed by these guys who have a lot of silver. And they're going, shit, you need silver for this, and there's no substitute. You can only do a solar panel on an electric car for the battery for the electric car. You have to have silver. There's no substitute. So they're going, how do we create this huge demand for silver so the price goes up and it blows up comex? And that's what I think's happening. I know Warren Buffett and Gates have a lot of silver. They don't have any gold, but they have a lot of silver for the wrong reason, not because it's money, but because they know it's used in solar panels and electric cars. And so I think that's really what's behind it. What's behind this whole thing. It's always about money. And like I said about the Ukraine war, it's about there's oil and rich minerals in 4 cities, Crimea and Donetsk and Kharkov and Odessa. And where is the Russian army taking over? Those 4 cities. Nowhere else. They're not by Jenna. She's got no problems. There's a rocket every once in a while that goes through the city, but generally, who knows? Just a misfire, probably by the Ukrainians firing on their own people. Zelensky, yeah, they're Ukrainians. Just fire at somebody. And that's, I think, what that's clearly all about is the oil and minerals that are there worth a fortune. That's why we're not stopping, because we don't give a shit about the people. What we care about is the oil and minerals. And Putin understands that. And Putin is defending those that's why he's not advancing into Romania or Poland. There's no oil and minerals there. It's all in the Ukraine. And so he's defending those areas because that's where it is. So he's basically defending the oil and the minerals. That's why he's not moving. He has no reason to move. It's not a war. They're trying to get, it's like somebody trying to get your gold and silver. You're gonna pull your gun out and defend. And that's all he's doing. He's defending against them, trying to grab his oil and minerals. I guess they're real rich minerals and worth a lot. Again, it's all about money. And that's exactly what you have here. So with that said, that's capitalism. Capitalism is free market economics. It always works. It's been working really the Romans, but let's go to Adam Smith in 1575. And since then, that's how the US was founded. And we were the most successful country ever. The biggest time was between 1874 and 1914, where everybody was on the gold standard, and we had 5% growth in the whole world. And that was the biggest ever. That's capitalism. That's gold standard. The central bank and the money printing is not capitalism. It's communism. They're printing the money to zero. That is not, how is that capitalism when we want a gold standard? So there's nothing wrong with capitalism. It's the only system that would work. Communism doesn't work. Socialism doesn't work. So as long as you have capitalism, you're fine. It's when we don't have capitalism, we're all fucked, because the money will be worthless, but we protect ourselves with the gold and silver that the fuckers can't print. That's where we live. That's how our advantage of what we're doing here is getting you into gold and silver. I know we don't want to see the derivatives, but we have no choice. At the end of the day, you can't stay in, and you can't stay in this. You have to get out of this. And it doesn't mean going into this, because this is the same as that. They're both heavily printed dollars. So in other words, there's no where you're going to go with it. So that's the whole point. You don't have a choice. But to say that communism is better than capitalism, or capitalism's defaulting, or the dumbest thing he said is the rich people and the corporations don't pay taxes. What does that have to do with capitalism? Capitalism is not about getting out of taxes and getting people elected. And what the fuck's he talking about? Buying bonds? That's got nothing to do with capitalism. Market forces. Where are the market forces in bonds? You have 36 trillion in debt. Who the fuck wants a bond? You're never going to get paid back. Why would you want one? So that's why these countries don't. And that's why China and Japan are selling, because they're going, oh shit, the dollar's worthless and we're not going to get paid back. You can have your bonds back. Thank you very much. We want our dollars back so we can go buy gold. So that's why they're selling, is because they know the dollar's worthless. Anyway, what other goodies do I have, as long as we're having fun? Who is the U.S. in debt to? Other countries. It's government debt. U.S. to impose tariffs on EU export. What's going on? That's absolutely ridiculous. Trump and his tariffs. He didn't learn from 1929. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act nearly bankrupt the country, and he wants to do tariffs. See, he's a protectionist, which means he doesn't understand that you want the best price. And if Germany has products cheaper than ours, we want to buy them from Germany because, like steel. Steel, let's say, is $100 a ton, and we can get it from Germany for $50 a ton. We want it from Germany. We're going to get the best price. You don't put a tariff on it, then it fucks you and it fucks them. And it doesn't help because now you got to pay more. And if we know there's tariffs, we market to the tariff. So all of a sudden, U.S. Steel says, I'm going to sell it for $150 because there's a tariff on it, and it doesn't benefit anybody. It's really stupid. It's not capitalism. I don't know where Bobby Bo. He hasn't been on for like 2 months. You were on the last time he was on, which was way back when. I don't know where he is. He was feeling a little sick, he told me, but I don't know. It's a long time if he was sick. It's not like him. I mean, he was on every day. He loved the economics because he's learning things you can't learn anywhere else. Especially now, he'd want to know about BRICS and he'd want to know about comex. So I really don't know where he is. He never gave me his email, so I could never really email him now and go, "Where are you, Bobby?" And when I was off for that week, I told him, go to Teaserking and you see my emails in my home section and you can email me. So I tell people to go there if you want to email me. There's a few episodes I put my email in the description because I knew I was out for the week for saying something I don't know. But he should be back for football as long as he's feeling okay, which is the only thing I can think of. Currency manipulation screws everything. Well, that's what the bankers do. So they're a bunch of thieves, right? They print the currency and then they take it. And then they make the currency worthless. So that's what they're doing now is they're inflating it. Well, they're printing it and they're taking it, right? So Biden has 8 houses because he takes money from China and he takes money from Russia and he takes money from the Ukraine and he's got all these houses, even though he doesn't make any money. And they pocket the money and they put it in the stock market. And that's the problem when there's the government's printing the money. Nobody's auditing them. So they're printing as much as they want, and it's probably every Friday afternoon for lunch. Okay, here's your $10 billion. We just printed some more. Here's 10 billion. And we suffer because then then we got to pay higher prices, but we don't get the money. So yes, it's all inflation. That's why you own gold. They can't do it to you in gold. If anything, the gold goes up because, the gold should go up because the money's worth less. So all the prices should go up. That's why we're in gold and silver. You can't lose. That's probably why Rolex is all $1 million watches because of the inflation. They charge more, and they're charging more because their costs go up. See, it's a beautiful product. It's extremely high demand and extremely low supply. So people that want Rolexes, they're not people that are looking at the cost. That $1 million watch is some billionaire who wants it. It ain't me and you. And so they know they got them by the balls. So if they raise the price, $5,000, it doesn't matter. It's the Rolex part of it. And that's why, that it does go up because the people aren't looking at price who buy them. So when their costs go up, they can pass it on. But Coca-Cola can't pass it on. That's what I'm saying. Buy 3 bottles, pay for 2. So you gotta buy 2, and then we give you the third one free because we know nobody wants to pay $3. You're not buying 1 bottle, so you're gonna buy 3, and that's just it's insane. But I'm seeing a lot of products at the grocery store do a 2-for-1. My Ken salad dressing was buy 1 get the second one free, and it was like $4 a bottle, but I go through it fast. So I bought 2 bottles. So I'm paying $2 a bottle. I do that with my dark chocolate, same thing. I buy it for I don't know, it's like $3.50 now. But if I buy the second bar, it's half off, so it's $1.70. So it's $5.20. So I'm paying like $2.60 if I buy 2 dark chocolates, which I do. I go through them more. Gold hasn't gone up like the stock market over the past 5 years. Well, again, I was showing you where the Netherlands and Saudi now and Larry Fink's going after putting these countries to buy stocks. And so you've got a lot of the manipulation and the inflation's going into the stock market. And now these countries are buying gold and stocks. But the gold price, because it's manipulated by the derivatives, it keeps the price down, not at what the real price is. So when COMEX breaks, the gold price should be here at free market, but it keeps getting derivative down, derivative down, derivative down. So when the derivative downs go away, and you see yesterday, it went from 2,400 to 2,481. I mean, it was up $80, and now it's 2,460. So you can see it's being a little bit less pressed, but this is the real price. This is where I tell you, when I go into the store and I sing and dance out, because I know it's worth a lot more than it is because of the derivative knocking it down. But we know enough that derivatives are leaving soon. And with the BRICS going on a gold standard, the price of gold will go through the roof. And when the dollar goes out and the euro goes out, there'll be no choice but to get gold. So we know what's coming. It'll be very high priced, but we know it keeps getting hit by the derivatives. But we use that to our advantage, and we know that. So we go buy more gold and silver and do a dance because this idiot's putting it at paper prices. You know, I paid $33 an ounce for my silver yesterday, a couple days ago, Tuesday. Yeah, yesterday, and it's like a joke. It's like, yeah, this is worth $1,000 an ounce, and I paid $360 for 11 ounces. Soon the 11 ounces will be worth 11,000 because it'll be 1,000 an ounce. 6 months, and so that's how I look at it. It's a joke. It's worth so much more than they're selling it for because they're selling it at paper prices, and I know it's the same as I do in football. I know what the line should be. And when the line is off, that's when I really that's when I do my locks and my good pieces. So if I know the spread should be 7 and it's 2, I jump all over the game. Oh my God, it's only 2. And I'd say the Georgia Clemson game's an example where that over-under is like 49. And I'm like, they're not going to score anywhere near 49 in that game. Clemson's not going to score. Georgia's going to shut them out. Anyway, but that's what I know. But yeah, you're right, Luke. But now you understand the reason, so you're less frustrated, right? You're frustrated. You're going, why is gold not going up? You don't realize it's the derivatives until now that the derivative, the Eddie Murphy trading places, I'm going to sell and then buy, has been what's happening, has been keeping the price down when they're doing derivatives and dumping all this at 96% leverage, showing inflated amount of gold. And how do you sell 1 million tons when there's only 250,000 tons? You can't sell 1 million tons when there's only 250. That's the problem with it. But it's a scam, and that's what they're doing is they're trying to set the price in COMEX. That's the purpose of it, not really to take delivery there. So now we need to phase that off, and then there's got to be some store where Saudi Arabia buys the gold and the silver, and India and all these other countries. Yeah, I'd like to buy 5 tons of silver for my solar panels. And so right now they probably go to the mine. But the mines are probably so corrupt, they're getting paid off to not to not sell it higher, right? Because if I'm the mine, I'm selling it at 100 an ounce. Fuck these guys. But they're still selling it cheap because of this comex. So comex is JP Morgan's probably cutting them a check for 5 mil, keep the price at our price, and they go, ah, sure, why not? And they probably pocket it. Hey, Greg and John, I don't think you can get silver for $1. No, you can. Well, you can buy. I saw yesterday a tenth of an ounce of silver, a little nickel or something was, I think, $3.80. The quarter ounce was $8. I'm thinking, well, 4 quarters is 32. I can buy the whole ounce for 32. Why would I? What do I need the quarter ounces for? When it gets to that point, Kroger's will have silver in different denominations. Let's not forget, Kroger and Costco and Target, these companies are in business to make money. So they need revenue. They need us to walk in and shop with our gold and silver to sell anything. So that means they have to be able to make change, and they have to price everything in gold and silver. So that's what'll come once the dollar goes out, or they'll come out with the USD number 2, which it won't be backed by gold. Stay away from it. I mean, use it for your bills, your rent, your food. But otherwise, it's more gold and more silver. And by then, BRICS will be running smoothly with their gold-backed currency, and it won't matter. It'll be so expensive at that point. You're doing amazing. Thank you, Greg and John. I like to think so. Yeah, I don't quite understand. I need to impress first of all, I don't understand that. You don't need to impress your boyfriend with money. That doesn't make sense. The money, the guy needs to impress the girl with money, not the other way around. Can I buy them for $1? Okay. No, you can't, but she knows that. But that's okay. We'll educate her. So really that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Oh, here's this idiot again. Boy, this Richard Wolff. See, that's what I hate about these AIs. You watch one of his videos now, all this shit keeps coming up. Thinkers Forum 8 days ago. China has to make a huge decision now. We will see a Chinese empire. We're going to see BRICS. We're going to see a gold-backed currency, and it's going to be BRICS is going to be the new number one. China and Russia. China's money's worthless. The yuan's worthless, but they have 65,000 tons of gold. That's China, not the yuan. So all these have to get out of their currencies and into gold, and that's why they're doing the gold standard. They have no other choice. China's going to go to zero also because they print a ton. So does Russia. So their only help is the gold standard. Otherwise, all their money would be worthless. And we'll all be sitting here, going, what the fuck do we do now? Sounds good, TK. Okay, Greg and John. Glad you approve. So this guy's an idiot. So stay away from Richard Wolff. Let's see. So I hate I don't understand. Like here, Ted Cruz or these other guys, these other conservatives, and they drill these guys and they lie to them and they go, well, I don't know. So what did you write? Well, I don't remember. Well, these people should be going to jail when this guy who's a congressman or a senator asks a question and the answer is I don't know. No. You go take 6 months in jail and then see if you can remember. But they never do anything. So it's like they say you're an idiot, and they're lying in front of Congress, and they get away with it. All these appointees. Why can't India compete with China? They have bigger inflation than China does. India's dollar is like it's like one US dollar buys 88 Indian dollars. In comparison, it's 7 yen. $1 buys 7 yen or won. $1 buys 4 Polish. But in India, it's 80. They're bankrupt. So they can't compete because they're not as smart as the Indians, as the Chinese. See, why are we like now picking on China? Like, really? How does this idiot get 1,000 views? This is what worries me. Here's some other bullshit. He gets 1,000 views in 2 hours. I don't get 1,000 views. Yeah. Anyway. So pretty much we're caught up. Talked Rolex, talked Russia, we talked Saudi Arabia. And it all matters. And again, it's all bricks going on gold back. That's all for us gold and silver buyers. That's all we care about. That's what's really going to hammer home. And that's going to drive the gold and silver price up because all the people in those countries are going to be buying gold and silver and all the banks. And we got to really kill comex. So let's take one last look at our beloved gold price, and it is at 24.59. Silver 30.39. 24.59. So it's looking good. It started. It's only down $9. So it started today at 24.60. At 2 a.m, it's 24.66, and then it goes up to 24.81 by really at like 9:55. I've been noticing this pattern between 9:30 and 10. The gold price is shooting up, and at 10 o'clock or maybe 10:30, then the put option, the let's make the price go down, goes in. So what they're really doing is trying to build the price up, because when you do the put option, you're selling first and then you're buying, right? So the higher the price is when you do it, then you don't have to lower it as much. So at if you bought it at 24.66, you'd probably have to go down to 24.20. But if you buy it at 24.81, apparently you just need to go down to 24.50. So it made more sense to do it after this jump up happens. But I'm noticing it happen pretty consistently now, where it's doing it just before the 10 o'clock. But sometimes the 10 o'clock comes at 11 or even 11:30, or maybe there are new options that are being done at those times. But not every time at 10 o'clock does it happen. Luke, what's the job search looking like? Well, I've had the 4 interviews. I called the recruiter yesterday and I said, what's going on? Any news? He said, I'll read you exactly what he said. This is his response. I've asked 3 times in the last 2 weeks and even called their head of HR, but no updates. Sorry. Now, that doesn't mean they don't want you. That doesn't mean the job's on hold. We're convinced that there's 2 jobs, and the VP likes me and the CFO likes me, that more than likely I'm getting one of the 2. But I don't know. I'm assuming my response is no problem. They're probably waiting on the economy and inflation before deciding. Have a nice day. Thanks for getting back to me. So in other words, you got a bad economy, you've got inflation. They have to look at their second quarter earnings, which happened, they had to wait for after July 4th because they're probably on the July 4th holiday. And this is the second quarter, June 30th. All of a sudden, July 2nd, and then here's July 4th on a Thursday. Everybody's off on the 3rd and the 5th. And then so the next week, which was last week, they're looking at the financials. So my guess is that I should hear something next week, hopefully, but I'm not sure. And so that's what I'm waiting for. But it seems positive from the fact I didn't hear a no. I was a little scared, but I didn't hear a no. Nobody said, "Oh no, they don't want you anymore," or the job's on hold. So those are two good signs. I'm waiting on the last interview with the Treasury manager. I'm supposed to meet with her, but HR is very slow, so they might have it, but HR doesn't have it. Anyway, so he's on top of it because that's money for him. And so all we can do is wait, but that's okay. There's no bad news. There's no you didn't get it. There's no it's on hold. So as long as I don't get the bad news, I still think it's the good news, but it's so fucking slow. But I got to be stoic. It's out of my hands. It really is. It's really nothing I can do. I can just ask him what's going on. I can just interview. I did good interviews. So I don't know what else I can do. I did get the site up. I'm going to do another video on that. So real briefly, so I teach economics here, and we go through the baseball picks. And what I'm going to do for football is I'll talk football general. Here's how I rate the teams, and here's injuries. But I'm not going to give the football picks unless we do a private. So you pay me. It's $25 for college, $25 for pro. And you're going to, then I'll do a private show or private class, and then we'll go through, okay, KC, Baltimore, here's the line, here's the injuries, here's my pick. So you're not going to get my pick here. You're going to get it if you pay for it there. Or you can still go to teaserking.com and purchase the pick. A week is, I think it's $75 pro, 75 college, or 100 both. A month's 200 for pro, 2 college, and 3 for both, or a year's 600, I think. And so you can still go to the website, buy the picks, and you don't have to hear me. So if you're out of town, like Luke's in Philadelphia, if he bet football, he could just go on and watch the video, and he'd get all the picks that way. As long as he buys it, it's by email, and I'll just put private and then just put all the emails in, and then they'll be able to see it. But I give the baseball for free, but football, I didn't get a lot of buyers as I should have last year, and everybody's coming to hear the picks, which is fine, but not this year. This year, you got to pay daddy to go make your money. So those are finally ready. So the pro and the college 1 week. I'll get your email, I'll add it, and then I'll do let's go through the games. And I'll do probably a couple. I'll probably do one for Thursday, all the games by Thursday, and then I'll do like I normally do, like a Sunday morning one. We'll look at the game, or Saturday night or something, where we'll then resolve it. Okay, this is my picks as of Thursday, and then if there's any new injuries or something that's happened, or I might be waiting on an injury, we'll talk about that Sunday morning in the private class. And here's my pick, here's my lock. I'll give you all that, but that'll be 25. And same thing with college. So we'll do a Saturday morning and probably do a Friday evening. I'll go through all the games. Here's my picks, here's my locks. But again, it's private, so that'll be also 25. So for 50 for both. And that's for the week. So you're good for the week. And then and then we'll go, week to week. I think it's a fair way. This way you can hear me. You can comment me as we go. But I can't give, like baseball. I sell it a little, but it's really hard to get all the variables. And I tell you that. So when I do give some picks, I'm saying bet lightly. Okay, but I'm not going to do that in football. But I'll still do it in basketball when we do the playoffs. But thanks for asking, Luke. Otherwise, I'm applied to Harley. I'm applied to GM twice, and nobody's. I'm telling you, it's a bigger recession than they tell you. The inflation's huge, which is affecting the cost. So I know what's going on. I know it's going to be hard to get a job, but they don't know that. But as long as I'm getting Social Security, and then with the football money, and then gold going up. So every time gold goes up 100, it just went from 2350 to 2450. That's 100 times how many ounces. So if you have 50 ounces of gold, you just made $5,000 on your gold going up $100, right? No risk in the portfolio. The difference is we're not selling it. It's not a stock. It's not something you want to sell, hope it goes down and buy it again. It ain't going down. It's a little bit of the derivatives, but we know those are ending. It's just going to go up and up and up. So there's no reason you would never profit take it. You can profit take Bitcoin, you can profit take Coca-Cola, but you're not doing that. TK, they have the college football video game out. Looks cool. $100 for the game. 3 ounces of silver, I could get it. There you go, Greg and John. Luke, so when for gold and silver, I think the stock market is on thin ice, up like escalator, down like elevator. Yeah, I mean, that's the stock market's about to crash because the people, like China realizes the dollar is worthless, in Japan, they're selling it all to get into gold. Believe me, these investors in Germany and Japan and China, whoever has stocks, know it also. The Saudi prince and the Netherlands should know this. They're buying a lot of stocks. So they will realize this and they'll say, get me out of the stock market because it's US dollars. And to not lose their dollars, they're going to sell, but nobody's going to buy. And yes, I believe it's way overdue to crash. And it should be happening probably when BRICS comes out, although they're going to try to keep it up for the election, but we will see. Well, one for gold and silver, I think October when the BRICS comes out. I think quicker, but when BRICS comes out with a gold-backed currency, I think you'll definitely see it then. That's when you're looking at it. But you can see it's happening now. The gold's at 20. We went up to 24.80 today. I mean, there you go. It's happening. I think they'll reprice it for BRICS. So BRICS will announce it with September, October, and say, all right, we're now going on a gold-backed system. And when they do that, I think, but they're going to say, well, but we got to reprice gold 10,000 an ounce, something like that. But you can see it's moving, it'll be 3,000 soon, and then 5,000, and then BRICS, and they'll probably make it 10. If you see the banks close for a bank holiday, that's when you're fucked if you have money at the bank. You got money at Bank of America or Wells Fargo, they're shutting down banks, right? They're shutting down the bank off at the physical bank. So you go in and talk to the teller. All of those, they're shutting most of them down. So I was in Fifth Third and I asked, so does this mean you're going to be shutting yours down? Oh, I wouldn't worry about it. Oh, why wouldn't I worry about it? Fuck yes, I'm worried about it. Because if I get cash in, how am I going to get my cash out of my bank? So if I transfer, money in from Teaserking to the bank, I got to get the money out so I can go buy gold. Well, if there's no lobby to buy it, to get it at, how do I get it out? Oh, you can get it from the ATM. ATM limits it to 500 or 800. If I get in, like my mom's trust, if I get in 40 grand, what am I? I'll be at the ATM every day. Fuck that. So we'll have to see. But when I go, I'm going to try to cash it when I get it. I don't know what I'm getting. I'll be happy with 5 grand, but I don't know. My friend from Ford says that if it's taking a long time, that's good. It's taking them a while to figure it out. It should be a lot more. So I'm just like, okay, I don't know what I'm getting, but we'll be off at the gold store to get it as soon as I can. What happens to 401k? Turns back into 201k. Yeah, that's about it. Your stocks will be worthless. I mean, it'll go down like 95%. So you got 100,000, be worth 5,000. It's probably already worth it. I mean, unless you have those 5 or 6 stocks, the Apple and the Amazon, it's probably got crushed anyway. So for that standpoint, that's why you get out. That's why you get out of the 401k or your IRA and you turn it into gold, because otherwise it's going to zero. I mean, the market's crashing. There's no way it can't. The only thing that's saving these big companies is they're international. Like Facebook is all over, and Amazon's in every country, and Apple's and everybody has an iPhone. It's the only thing saving it. However, the depression is in every country because every country has this shit. So don't think Europe's smelling like roses. They're in trouble too, as they print their dollar to death, just like Japan is printing theirs. So it's a worldwide depression. That's why we're moving to a BRICS country where we can get gold-backed currency, because that's the only thing that's going to save you. That's what would save us. If we actually had the gold, which we don't, you would be able to revalue it at 20,000 an ounce, pay off the debt, and then have a good economy with gold-backed currency. But they don't want it because the Keynesians, MMT, Marxists are in charge, and they don't like gold because they can't steal. So that's the problem. They want to print money and keep printing it. I saw somebody comment in one of those, and it said, why don't they just print the money to pay for the debt? Because if you did, it wouldn't be worth it. It'd be zero. Because you can't keep printing; it loses its value. Again, the Nazis against the British pound in 1940, they were going to counterfeit it, and they did counterfeit it, and they were going to dump it in England, and that would have ruined the pound, like the Brits did to the French in 1795. They printed it, and then they dumped it in France, and the French the French franc was worthless. So if you print too much, it's worthless. It happened to the Romans. They got their gold and silver out. They printed too many, and then it collapsed. It happens every time. There's too many dollars out there, and it's like I said with the Rolex, it's very limited, and the demand's high, so the price is high. But if you made 1 million Rolexes and more than the demand, they wouldn't be worth anything. So they're worth something because they're very limited, and that makes the demand higher, because now it's not only a beautiful watch, a piece of art, it's also a collectible in the fact it's going to go up in value, because used Rolexes are worth more than new ones, because you can buy my used Rolex tomorrow, but it takes a year to get the new one. And I don't want to wait because I'm a baby, because I'm Mark Zuckerberg. Anyway. So yes, your 401k is fucked. So you got to get out of that and buy gold. You'll be happy you did. They hog tie you in 401k. You can take any dollars out unless you move companies. Oh, you can't take any dollars out. Really? Well, what I would do then is I would make it 0% out of my paycheck. If the company if the company gives you 5%, fine. but I wouldn't get any money taken out of my paycheck. I just did that at my last 3 jobs. I says, I don't want an IRA. I don't want a retirement. I don't want any money in it because I want my full paycheck and then I can run and go buy gold with it. So I'd rather use gold as my retirement than have it in a 401k, which is stocks, which is paper, which we know is Titanic, and we know we're fucked. So that's why I would just make it zero and not put anything into it, and somehow try to get your money out if you can. If you can't, you're gonna get fucked. But maybe there's a way to maybe, I don't know. You don't want to start quitting to get that money out, but there's got to be a way to cash out some of your 401k, because that'll be a shame if you're stuck in it and then it goes to zero. What the fuck? So yeah, that's what I did. So when I switched jobs, I had some, and I moved it out. And I was at Hiram Walker, though, my Canadian club company. It's called Hiram Walker. And I was there a few years, and they gave me a pension, and it was real nice. I was going to get $300 a month. And when I turned 59, they offered me a buyout. They says, we'll give you $25,000 now instead of the $300 a month. And I took it in 2 seconds. I said, yeah, give it to me. And I went and bought gold with it. That's what you do. You don't. Why would I want? What good's $300 a month going to do me? Right, buy food, but 25 grand, and I can buy at the time probably 12 ounces of gold. Right, that's a huge. It's funny to talk about gold like this. So gold's 10,000 an ounce. Oh, I can buy 4 ounces of gold. Well, now it's 2,500. So 10 grand buys you 4 ounces of gold. When I started this in 2017, I think with 10,000, I think it was 1,500. I got 8 ounces, I believe. So now it's down to 4. When it hits 3,000, then you'll buy 3 ounces of gold for 10 grand. It's the money being worth less and less, but that's also the price of gold going up because of the demand. So it's a double-edged sword. It's not all the dollar going down. Yes, it takes more dollars to buy tuna fish also. So it's not really the tuna going up unless there's a lot of demand for tuna. But that's kind of where we're at with it. So it's just, but see, then they'll say, well, look at capitalism failed. Inflation's not capitalism, right? You want to label it capitalism. How is inflation capitalism? It's these idiots printing money to zero is not capitalism. Capitalism is the gold standard. So this is what you get is these people. Oh, look, it's capitalism's fault that you got to pay taxes for the election and pay these guys and the military and oh, it's all capitalism. What the fuck? It's got nothing to do with capitalism. Capitalism's the system, not all these outside peripheral stuff. Luke, that's what I did. Scrap the 3% company max on my 6%. Yeah. Well, you should kill the 6% and just get the money and buy the gold with it. I haven't taken my match in many, many years. I don't like them telling me anything of where I need to put my hard-earned income. Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's communism. They tell you what to do. You're too stupid to know what to do on your own. So we're going to tell you. That's the elitist attitude, and that's what we're fighting now. We want to be free. Our whole key of capitalism is our freedom. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And liberty is the freedom. So I want to be free to buy gold, and I want to be free to take my gold anywhere and let the free market control the gold, not the bullshit Ponzi schemers, unfortunately. But we know we know gold's ending. We can see it, right? 2480 on its way up. So we can see it's kind of just about cracked. Silver's still got a way to go, which we understand. We know it's not Basel III. It's not a tier one. It is money, but it's also used in these electric car batteries and solar power. So the demand is huge in silver, and the price should be going up relatively soon. They won't be able to hold it. But they keep saying China's manipulating it. It's the stupidest system in the world, having derivatives. How it's not a free market like eBay for Mantle and Rolexes is beyond me. How is a Rolex $1 million in gold 2,400? Something doesn't add up there. Yeah, I just scratched that 6%. So I wouldn't take anything. Don't give me anything. I don't need your match. What's the point? If the stocks go to zero, oh boy, you're matching me. That really helps me. So your whole key is, let's say you take home another, $1,000 a month, $500 a month. Off you go. You can buy a quarter ounce of gold with that money. And we know it's going up. So, and you can't get burned, and you put it away. And Sam, I'm sick and tired of gold doesn't have a dividend. Do we fucking need a dividend? It went from 23 and change to 24.80. Do I need a fucking dividend? I made 20% on this the money going up. I don't need a dividend. And then it's insurance costs and storage. You don't insure it. Storage you put in a safe. It's not that difficult. I got most of them in the white silver containers now. Especially the 1/10 of an ounce, the quarter ounce, the half ounce, and my maple leafs are all in my white container. So now it's very easy. I could be there with like a thing, a quarter ounce or half ounce in my pocket in Switzerland, and nobody would have a fucking clue. In my right front pocket, this one tube. That's it. I don't need anything else. That's all I need. And otherwise, it'd be like these, and then it would be carrying, 15 of these in my front pocket. Not that anybody would notice, but it's just easier with the white container to store it and, put it where I want to and everything. Silver is a constitutional money along with gold. If we are America, that holds. Well, that's what they're supposed to, but they're not playing by the rules. There's not supposed to be a central bank. If you read the Constitution, no central bank and no paper money, only gold and silver. And there should be what else? There should be no fiat and none of this lobbying stuff should be allowed, and no monopolies should be allowed. And the central bank is forbidden to be the money is forbidden to be a monopoly by the government. It should not. That's in the Constitution too. But what we have now is J.P. Morgan has the monopoly on printing money. What the fuck is that about? So that's our biggest problem is him and running the monopoly. Why would you? So what they used to do is have 3 or 4 different banks printing money. And then they kind of competed against each other. So if one inflated, the other two would get that would go out and the other two would be fine. So there was no way they'd inflate the money. But why would you only have one and a central bank be the one that prints the money? What kind of crap is that? That's why monopolies are bad, unless it's the utility company with your electricity. Just everything but the utilities should be free market and competition. Never. Look at TVs and laptops and phones. Prices go down, quality goes up when you have free market. And so I don't know what to think of the other. That's the problem with monopolies, that the price does not come down and the quality never gets better. And look what happens with the dollar. They got the monopoly and they're too greedy and they print. There's nothing wrong with greed, but there's stupidity. So JP Morgan prints and prints and prints. Just like Madoff, he knew Madoff was Ponzi scheming because there was $2 billion in the account. They just turned their back. They got their cut. It's amazing how stupid people are and don't understand price fixing and mafia stuff. And so in other words, the SEC was getting paid off by Madoff. That's why every time they went there, they never convicted him. Also in that group, the Russian mafia was running it. And JP Morgan had the bank account where he kept all his money was being paid off also. So they go to JP Morgan. Why didn't you say anything? What do you want them to say? Well, the Russian mafia was paying us $1 million. So we took the money and we didn't say anything. I mean, that's what happened. But how naive are these people? Just like this Trump stuff. How did the guy get on the roof? And then everybody's seeing him and nobody's taking him out. And then he misses them. I mean, and I guess he was a kid and like they gave him a ladder. What the fuck happened there? That's so obvious that this was a setup. Like, you got to be kidding. This is your plan, is to shoot him making a speech in Pennsylvania. You're gonna shoot him. Really? And then where's Trump's guys? Where was the Trump army? If I was Trump, or if I was president or powerful, I would have Russian security. Nobody fucks with the Russian security. They'd see him, they'd have taken him out. And they'd say, well, we don't care. We're Russian. You can't do anything to us. That would be my security team. I'd get like 50 elite Russian guys, and as long as you just keep paying them off, they'll be on your side. And I'll live a long life. I mean, nobody's taking me out with Russian security people at me. You think I trust the CIA or the FBI? You got to be kidding me. They're the most corrupt people. They're more corrupt than the Russians. So yes, you're right, Luke. Silver, gold, our money, and that's what you get when a guy like Madoff can get into the Wall Street. That's what you got. He ain't the only one in Wall Street, right? So there's many Madoffs in there. So it's very corrupt. But you must know that. That's why you don't play stocks. You know it's corrupt and fixed. So therefore, you can't play with them because you know whatever stock you buy has already gone up. Like if you read like Coca-Cola has a new pop that has no sugar and tastes great. Oh, that's going to really make revenues go up. Well, once you see the news, it's already gone up 10 points because the Wall Street guys have already bought it. So it's a very rigged game, and that's why I never play stocks because I know it's fixed. So why would I want to play that? I'm better off betting football and gold and silver, and apparently Rolexes I should have been buying. What an investment that is! Almost as good as the Mantle and the Joe Montana rookie. Anyway, communism has never worked. Socialism has never worked. It's the government running the economy, and they can't. It's got to be the individual making free choice to say, I want a steak, I want a hamburger, I want chicken, I want a blue shirt, a green shirt. It's the choice of the individual who buys it, has to run the market. The government can never, ever know what I'm going to buy because they don't know. I don't know. I go into a store and I see a real colorful green shirt, I'll buy it. And if I don't, I won't. Maybe I'll buy a nice blue one. But the government would have no way of knowing that. So it's up to the store to carry all the colors or whatever it is, or Luke with tennis or golf. There's different golf clubs, and you don't know what I'm going to buy. I do need a pitching wedge because all my golf clubs are in Alabama. I'll never get them. Hogan Apex, 1983, collectibles, and that's okay. It's hard for me to play golf now with all my back injuries and my feet injuries. It's just too difficult for me to play. But my mistake is I should have grabbed my driver, my putter, and a few irons and stuck them in the trunk instead of the whole bag. That was my mistake. And if you're ever traveling across, like from Alabama back to Michigan, and you're moving, I would suggest the real important stuff goes in the car. The next level, you get a U-Haul locker and you put them in there. And the last thing you really want to do is trust the mover. So you don't even want to use them. Maybe the pod guys. And I probably should have used them, but I would have had to load it myself and unload it myself. How am I going to unload a couch and big heavy stuff? I couldn't do it by myself. So anyway, that would be my suggestion. Use pods. The movers, I didn't realize they're going to fuck you over and start charging you square footage. And, oh, it's not enough. Well, I talked to the moving company. What do you mean it's not enough? So anyway, I just, fuck it. Most of the stuff I can buy. I bought clothes and a new table and a new bed. So you just move on with it. But anyway, what a waste of time going to Toyota in Alabama with the Japanese. Don't ever work for Japanese. Oh my God. These people thought that World War II was still being fought. The first thing you see is the bomb going off. I'm like, I don't want to work here. I did not like Alabama, which was shocking. I thought, how bad can Alabama? I've been to Florida and Georgia and a few other states, Vegas, California. How bad can it be? Well, it's pretty bad. So my advice is, if you're ever relocating, to go to the city first before you accept the job. Or even after you accept it, you can always say, I changed my mind. And just go there and see it. But it was pathetic. It was like Gomer Pyle land. I mean, they didn't have restaurants there, just the little crap restaurants, a lot of fast food places. Nothing worth going for. But yes, keep in mind, think logically. There's always this scam going on. The government is so corrupt. So keep that basic fundamental. As much as communism was corrupt, with Joe Stalin killing everybody, you have very corrupt. This is an extremely corrupt government we have. The lobbyists, oh, here's money. Oh, yeah, we can have a war. We'll call it a war, but we're after the oil and minerals. Let's just fucking make a deal with Putin. Hey, let's split them 50-50 and we'll get them all out. He wouldn't have cured. No, let's go to war. That's been over. It's so dominated by Russia, but we want to keep playing. Anyway, I feel bad for Jenna, but anyway, nothing we can do. Anything else? Anybody? Luke, Gregor, John, Gregor. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So yes, let's take our last look at gold and silver. We got gold at 24.59. It's going. So it's been 57, 58, now 59. Silver 30.37, down 90, which is getting better. So that's what we have. Again, communism does not work. It never has. It never will, because the object is free market, and the individual controls the market, not the government. And the only way you can do that is capitalism. But all this taxing, and the rich and the corporations don't pay tax, is by far the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's nobody that doesn't pay taxes. I don't know what they mean by paying taxes, but there's no way they don't pay taxes. And anyway, keep that in mind. So don't let anybody tell you that Marxism or communism or socialism works. Say where? Russia, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, Argentina? Where has it worked? Capitalism has worked everywhere it's been. And again, because they're inflating the dollar, that's not capitalism. Capitalism is the gold standard. We have the dollar backed by gold, so you can inflate. So any inflation is not due to capitalism. It's due to communism getting baked in by the people in charge, wanting to get more dollars out, so they're corrupt and they print it. But that doesn't mean capitalism's bad. You can't just lump it and, oh, that's capitalism. Look, it's not capitalism. Don't be afraid to say, prove it. Show me an example where capitalism's failed and communism worked, because there ain't none. That's like the Romans were capitalists. Then they took all their gold out of their coins and they became socialists. And then it ended. They inflated. Everybody inflates their money to zero and goes out, and we're right there. Everybody with fiat currency is going out, and gold's going to the moon. So keep that in mind. All right, everybody. I'm going to come back with a quick one about my class. It's more of an advertisement. I'll come back in a little bit. I'm going to take a break, have a little dinner, and I'll see you tomorrow. I mean, if you want to catch it, but I'm trying to keep it to like 15 minutes just to say, here's the site, here's where you purchase it. I'll get your email, and then we'll have a private class, and I'll go through the football picks like I did last year, like I do with baseball. But it won't be on the free chat. It'll be on the private that you pay for. If you don't want to pay for it, you won't get the picks with me live. What'll happen is you'll have to buy them on teaserking.com, purchase picks, and you'll buy the week. And then whenever you want, just go get the picks. So either way, most people are used to that. This will be different, doing a private class, going through the picks, versus last year was just everything was like I do baseball, but I'm not going to do that now. All right. Well, have a good night. And gold's going back to 2460. I look for 2,500 by the end of the week. Well, we're already at Wednesday. It's amazing. Just fly. So hoping for the job and soon, and then the trusts. Hopefully that'll be soon, and then the gold price going up. So I got 3 outs, and hopefully that's good. All right. Have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com.